if you pair hard CC with Elise, that's great. If you pair up hard CC with Lee Sin, that's great. It allows them to land their skill shots well. You don't have that.
Of the Verisol though, and I think that as we load onto the Rift, the composition is clear for Kabum. Dive bot, but 4x4 on the other side. Sivir, Lulu, a very classically safe bottom lane. Trigo and Redbird should be able to withstand some of these dives, especially if they're willing to call down Goot in the jungle. So I've got to be honest, Kabum, they've got a spicy composition locked in, but I think Furia is going to have some consistency. Is Yuri able to dominate this mid matchup and get the dives down bot, or will Trigo scale up to be a late game menace?
There's your win cons from the draft from the outset anyway. But like anything, it's going to come down to execution. Goot not able to clear out that ward. Duds and Skuro both opting for the Comet and just littering, and I mean littering, polluting the bottom lane with all sorts of trinkets and traps.
It is, I think, already a mistake from Furia not to go 5-man to the bottom side and try to clear out some of these Heimer turrets, because if I'm looking at the Sivir Lulu, I think giving up wave control for free to Varus Heimer is how it's going to be really difficult to play in this game, because if you're assuming that the Lee Sin is going to have an explosive mid matchup and then perma priority bot, you're giving Elise the river highway basically for free. So while it's expected that the Varus Heimer would get pushed anyway, it's just they're going to get it easier than they would have, and that's sort of the issue I'm having. And now, Scary, starting on the bottom side, solo clearing Raptors, I think this is going to be a 3-camp gank on the bottom side against Furia.
Yeah, you would think so, 100%. They are able to get some vision down, but doesn't Skuro able to clear that pretty immediately, hoping that this wave can bounce back a little bit. Right, it's one thing to have your jungler path a certain way, hit a certain spike, but if the wave's in an awkward spot, if you can't manage that, then it all kind of goes to waste.
I do want to point out something here, though. There was just a question mark ping on the Raptors. You can see that ward that was put down by Kabum. They don't actually know where Goot is. He cleared the red and then pathed around the Raptors to go blue Gromp and hit 3 and also cover the bottom side of the map. Scary's walking in now, and he's going to find a Goot where he might not have expected him, or maybe can just dive mid. But I love this hover from Goot, playing very, very defensively, very, very respectfully, laying the trap for Scary as he walks in. I don't think there's a play to be had, but it's denying any easy early aggression from Kabum.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's telegraphing, right? Like you said,
they don't know. They don't know he's here.
Easy early aggression. Are lurking there in the tri-brush. They got the cannon crash, but Scary not feeling quite confident enough. Maybe doesn't know where exactly Goot is and saying, look, there's not enough of a guarantee that he isn't just waiting to punish my dive.
But such clever pathing from Goot. I think Scary might have thought that Goot was topside, but wasn't quite willing to pull the trigger. But Furia, they're already doing a great job of trying to stave off any early dives. Now, side lane CS is a different story. It is not going well, which maybe was expected with the strong 2v2 that has been locked in for Kabum, as well as Lonely just outplaying on the top side, it seems. But oh my god, they're still looking for this. Kabum really trying to hard force. Scary is completely abandoning his top camps in order to try to force Redbird and Trigo off the wave.
Yeah, this is obviously extremely risky, and you have never seen an early ward get more value than that one has right there. But in he goes immediately, didn't even opt to get the cocoon, goes into spider form, goes up, repels away. Trigo and Redbird managing this pretty well here. The heal, the cleanse, the flash, all blown. And a TP out of the bot side turret is Envy's.
Cross map top.
Yeah, now on the top side, like you said.
Oh, maybe not.
Waiting there. Yeah, is good. Maybe trying for something, but he's got complete control of the river as far as vision. Maybe he could pull something off here onto Lonely early on, get FNB ahead. Wave in a decent spot to do so, but not going to opt for anything.
All right, I got a little excited about the top lane play, but really nice defense from Furia on the bottom side. Envy invests the teleport to make his way down, but honestly, Trigo and Redbird playing it exceptionally well to stay alive. But critically, 3 summoners were blown, only for 2 on the side of Kabum. So the threat of a repeat gank is there should one come through him, and expecting Scary just to full clear his camps once again back down towards the bottom side. But you might not even need him.
Wow, he's got some catching up to do, but Kabum's bottom lane is doing it all themselves. Redbird not able to finish it off. Ooh, the glitter lane's almost actually able to clean up Does a Boy, but you saw the damage that this bottom lane can do.
Yeah, and Trigo, we said he's just got to not fall behind, just got to stay alive. They did a good job against the dive, but the 2v2, remember, is still so difficult. Down massively now. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Yuri, the X Factor, the spicy pick that we wanted to see with this influence on the map is actually up CS as well. So a great early game for Kabum. They're 1,500 ahead just off of farm and the kill.
And I guess, is there a bridge or dots to be connected back to Scary and Yuri? Because the stat lines say, oh, right? And it is just, and
But
Scary
the
was
pressure that was
massively
applied,
behind,
the
right?
summoner spells that were blown, right? It all cascades. Now Skuro.
Able to get the damage back there onto Good. He was able to lock him down, but not quite enough to pull the trigger. Wave frozen here. Yuri gonna TP right back on this Lee Sin mid pick, which when I woke up today, and if I was to have made a list of things that I thought maybe might have
Did
happened,
not
and
have it on my bingo card.
no, it wasn't on my bingo card. It wasn't on my alternate bingo card. It wasn't on the one that I created and then deleted because I thought this is stupid. If I share this with anyone, they're gonna laugh at me. No, none of that. Need to work out there from FNB and actually pop in the ghost if Lonely wants to continue the fight, but he's got Meganar, and that'll be enough to dissuade FNB from anything further.
Yeah, and FMB out of mana unfortunately can't extend the play. And now First Dragon going to go down to Kabum. They're going to be able to continue to extend their lead on the bottom side. We talked about that river highway that is fully online now for Kabum. They have full access anywhere on the bottom side of the map. But Herald now spawning in about a minute. Similarly to last game, I see that as the way that Kabum can really break open this game. They've already got a lead, but if you can crash this bot wave and reset your bottom lane, full swap with Lonely, and play onto the top side of the map, you could find yourselves a really good Herald fight and look to start to take control of the game even more and grow your gold advantage.
These crazy picks have worked out so far, but I think it's exactly as you said, this 1,500 gold lead, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. First neutral objective, going immediately and decisively, thanks to that pressure, over to the side of Kabum. Both these teams, again, they need a win badly. I will say, as the game goes on, I like Furia's composition a lot better. That's not a hot take by any stretch of the imagination.
That's not.
So it's not like, like Kabum, they've checked off everything, every box to be checked. But there's still a lot to talk about for Furia and the way that they might want to get back into this one. Envy having an all right time, all things considered. Like you said, not a huge, crazy, great ults to steal. Honestly, the Chains of Corruption and the Big Gnar for ults, as far as ults from Lonely, that's what I'm looking at. But it's not like the composition is lacking in CC. You've got a Sejuani there to apply that pretty reliably, and a couple melee champs to help you out there. But CC is one thing, chaining CC is another.
I think the big thing that we're seeing in the issue I have with the Silas pick is not necessarily the lack of ults, but we're clearly seeing that Envy has not been able to prevent Yuri from getting first move. And Kabum, they're not even going to need to bring their bottom lane. They took the reset to threaten the swap, but seeing that Goot is on the bottom side and there's no counterplay, they can just walk back down bot. And now Kabum has that objective that they needed to extend this game, or rather extend their lead.
Let's see what they do with it. No towers have gone down. Every tower at, pretty much full health here. 4 plates to be had up top and on the bottom side. 5 in the mid lane. Vision on that top side. Well established there by Kabum. And you see the gold graph, reflects the dominance of Kabum have had. 4 out of the top, all the top 4 are the non-support members of Kabum.
And to contrast this game from, say, the unusual draft that we saw out of Fluxu that also needed to get ahead, Kabum is already taking steps to snowball their advantage. They're taking neutrals, they're taking good fights, good dives, and making big plays. They're even threatening towards Envy and mid with the dive. Nice kick!
Ooh, really good stuff. Kicks him right into the path of Lonely. He says, thank you very much. But Envy able to flash away. Got some help from Goot as well. The Glacial Prison helping dissuade. But like you were talking about, Hawk, first move just seems to be on the side of Kabum every single time.
It does, and again, they're trying more to extend their lead than, say, Flukes who did in that game, and that's why I like their position so much more, despite the scaling that Furia has. And now, with the mid laner chunked out and unable to fight, Envy will have the teleport if a dive comes through, but you can already see Scary continuing to control that that bottom side highway. Yuri pushing up in mid lane will have first move onto the map, and if there's a skirmish around this, Kaboom, they've got a great situation. Furia, they want to try to counter this due to the threat of the Herald. Trigo cannot fall further behind.
No, otherwise things are going to get really, really ugly. And just the hill that they're going to have to climb is going to get that much higher.
Ooh.
Jeez, does the boy making that lethality hurt.
And now see Envy back out on the map with a teleport, but the bot lane's chunked out. They can't ever get a 4v4. Redbird is going to stick around to try to defend this, but I think this whole tower is just going to drop 4x4.
Yeah, they get 2 plates out of it anyway. Yuri, again, first to move here. He's going to back. Maybe, yeah, I think if you walk away with a tower, you are A-okay with your prize. And actually, Yuri not able to back, has to ward hop over the wall as Envy finally able to catch up. So no tower taken down maybe just yet, but that is so much gold that is flowed into the pockets of Kaboom. And now their gold lead is over 2,000.
And I just love the way Scary and Yuri are playing this game, willing to sacrifice camps, willing to sacrifice their waves to apply that pressure. And look at the gold lead. It's continuing to increase. Now over 2,000. That bot tower is very, very low. And as we approach this mid game, I am sure Kaboom, they're going to just take their reset and they're going to do exactly the same thing. Clear all the topside camps, or not even, because we got dragon spawning in just a second. Bring everybody bot. Play on that bot lane highway you've already established and take an easy objective fight. Furia, I don't think there's any contest here. I don't think they have the item spikes, but no flash on Envy.
Oh, geez, and they don't have vision as well, and just got collapsed on by Kaboom. Only the second kill of the game in what has felt like a much more action-packed game. But then again, that just goes to show you the things that aren't going to show up in the stat sheet that Kaboom is doing right so far. And I gotta commend Yuri, man. This Lee Sin mid pick, that took some cojones, and he has played it exactly how he has wanted to.
I know, and the Maw Mortius rush as well, clearly identifying that Sejuani and Silas are both magic damage based champions, just needing to be able to sustain through the lane, through the damage that they can provide, and keep moving around with the team. Pretty bad face check, I think, from Envy, it's fair to say, but it just means that Kaboom is going to just extend their lead even more. It is ballooning this early game. But 4x4, I do need to mention, something we talked about in the pregame is that Kaboom has had actually very good early games throughout the course of the season. Their struggles, though, have been in the mid stage of the game with some chronic throwing, to be honest, has been happening for this team. Now, they're in a great position. In every game, I keep thinking there's no way they throw this one, right? But sometimes it has, to be honest, happened. Or they throw a little bit and end up winning later. So, Kaboom, I want to see how clean they could be at ending this game.
No, if they could put together just a front-to-back really clean game, like you're saying, I think that would just do tremendous amounts.
Against another 2-2 team at that, too.
Yeah, against another 2-2 team that, again, if we're talking about just, scaling PowerPoints of each composition, you've got it's just a lot more execution based and just keeping your foot on the gas. I beat that, metaphor to death here. But if Kaboom can do that, right, that's just a lot of that'll just build tremendous amounts of confidence, right? Because it's really having control of everything and keeping control of it. Because like you said, it has been both the wins and both the losses for Kaboom, I think, are filled this season with what ifs, right? And a lot of just critical moments that haven't gone their way. And so this 2-2 record, it could be 4-0, it could be 0-4. Kaboom need a front to back clean win.
Yeah, they really are. And so far, it's still looking clean. With bot lane opened up, they could put Yuri down there pretty safely. I say that. He is farming some wolves behind enemy lines.
Oh my goodness. That was a decision that was made, and he just would ward hop out of there. Actually going to dodge the Glacial Prison. He Dragon's Rage to get somebody, I think it was Goot, off of him, and just threw the ult out and didn't get anything out of it. Man, Yuri, just no business being alive.
Yeah, Yuri flying by the seat of his pants a little bit in the enemy jungler, but hey, you know what? We take those, able to get out. Does not, unfortunately, get the wolves, but at the point I was making before, with bot lane opened up, that is sort of the idea without the having to flash away. is that now with bot lane opened up, you can stick Yuri very safely in that lane to draw pressure, and that's going to allow Kabum to focus on the top side of the map, where, by the way, Lonely has been quietly destroying this lane, up 20 CS, going to take a solo tower, and with Duds the Boy and Skrull mid, no one can really counter them. Herald now going to drop as well, and Furia finally starting to get some mythic items online, but there are already half items being built up by Kabum.
Duds the Boy, when he's up at 15, he has a 100% win rate. So that's been the one constant for Kabum. So if their AD carry has that lead in CS, there's not a gold lead. This specific statistic is about a farm lead at 15 minutes. If that is going in his way, his team is 2-0 so far, and on their way to 3-0 right now. The gold lead ballooning to almost 5,000. And now Goot may have overstayed his welcome here, a little far forward, getting a ton of value out of this. You saw the barricades, barricadas, the turret plates. There we go. 7-0 advantage to Kabum. And so even though they haven't broken down any, any towers in the early game until kind of right now, the work that they were able to do was very much well rewarded. Because like you said, yes, Furrier's kind of they're getting some mythics on right now, but even though there's only one mythic on the side of Lonely, the item spikes and the power levels are similar. Again, textbook early game from Kabum here. Very, very well done.
I do want to say, I do think Kabum actually just made their first mistake, not basing and resetting, buying their items before dropping the Herald mid and then forcing around a Dragon play to split Furia even further. They're not able to get the tower with the Herald, and I do think that could matter as we do approach the next fight of the game in a couple minutes. So just something to keep our eyes on. But as everyone takes their reset on the side of Kabum, I do like how you bring up Duds the Boy, because he's played very well in the early games, just like the rest of his team, but he really has, I think, struggled to be that late game carry. Lots of fights, either getting caught out or just not able to step in, find the position to do a lot of damage. And I think it was RMC has said that it feels like Duds the Boy just doesn't do damage. And, was an ADC that I believe got kicked from Loud after a struggle in Split 1 last year, came over to Kabum, didn't look amazing, and now in 2023 really wants to reinvigorate himself, prove himself as a great AD carry. So far, I don't think it's really happened, but we have seen those flashes of brilliance. So I'm waiting for the games where Duds the Boy can continue to prove his greatness, and this could, as you say, be one of them.
Yeah, he's definitely looking to get back to the levels that others know he can reach. He was on that Loud roster for a reason. He and Seos were just a duo for pretty much their entire careers, for 5+ years at this point. He was separated from his longtime AD carry partner. He lands himself, on Kabum. And he's looking to just kind of recapture that glory. But like you said, it's not like we haven't seen anything from him. Third dragon of the game in a row going towards Kabum. Little by little, they are slowly but surely, wearing down the Furia defenses. Someone we haven't really talked about, FNB. You know what this dude can do in team fights. You know that this guy, he has shown last year's MVP has not exactly been on display to the same level of dominance. I do think Furia, like Kabum, they needed that 2-0 badly this past week. But right now, it is Kabum very much in the driver's seat. And just wrapping up all the objectives here, Furia made one change in the offseason, AD carry. It seems like everybody kind of made a change in AD carry. Just it's a pretty plug-and-play position. And teams said, that's A-okay. But Furia, again, regular season champions, best of 1 kings. And it has been a rough start for them so far. But look, they're not out of this one.
No, and again, it is still early into the split, so maybe Furia is sort of ramping up. But as you say, with a roster that did largely stay the same, it's surprising that they wouldn't start out towards the top of the table. But if they're able to come back against Kabum, maybe that could be a bit of a confidence booster to show that they are they're not one to be trifled with. Many teams, as we said, have come back against Kabum. But either way, see, this is the thing about the Herald, is that Kabum now is still forced to spend a lot of resources mid lane after this dragon, when I think they otherwise would have wanted to have this one open up. Now, they've got Yuri on the side, so they might look for a dive, but instead it's an engage on a Duds.
Yeah, it does. And he flashed or he cleansed and flashed away immediately. Actually, didn't flash. He just kind of sidestepped immediately. Was able to throw out his own ultimate. I think Envy stole the Varus ultimate and couldn't find his version of it. So Powder Keg almost goes off there. But to your point, Hawk, the line of scrimmage is in a completely different spot than they would like it to be. Scary, stepping a little far forward, repelling up. Good saying, where's the spider? Where's the spider? Flashes away. Here comes FNB trying to make his impact on the game. Over the wall goes Yuri. Can't get enough onto Goot there. Actually got decent damage, but the wild growth is going to save him. Oh my goodness. Redbird just bailed out Goot with a sliver of health. Yuri in, blast cone sends Lonely right back out. Does the boy trying to make it rain. The damage coming down. Finally, they get that tower down. No blood spilled, Hawk. But Kabum come out with a slight advantage.
It was quite the trepidatious fight, quite the messy fight, but Kabum, they finally get what they wanted, which is that mid tier 1 tower. Yuri on the Lee Sin, man. I'm kind of sold on this pick. That was a pretty clean fight.
Man, look, Yuri has always liked to play the game on a knife's edge. Even 2 years ago when he was here in Brazil on that Rensga roster that went to the finals, this dude is all gas, no brakes. But Envy might have finally punished Yuri here, but not more than he can shoot. There's no shot. How does he keep getting away with it? How does he keep getting away with it?
Lee Sin Gaming, Yuri looking like Houdini on the Rift. What a nice escape for him. And yeah, I mean, just such a great player. I do think outside of Lonely, Yuri has been the other most consistently performing member of Kabum, having a lot of really nice games so far in Split 1. And honestly, Sin, he was the player we were sort of having under the microscope, and the impact he's been able to have, even sitting at 0-0-1, I think Yuri has done a lot more than the scoreline would imply with, again, having first move from mid, always looking to rotate to plays, and just sort of working with Scary to apply pressure to Furia. Because remember, there's only been 2 kills in this game, despite how much action it feels like there has been.
Yeah, and all the neutral objectives have gone Kabum's way, right? That's not going to show up in the 0-0-1, but it's to your point. It's sort of like what you said in the draft. Let's take the 2 most powerful early game junglers, stick them side by side, and it's a lot on their plates, but they have executed very, very well with aplomb, I think it could be said, as the objective bounties are now starting to come up. That's a telltale sign that Furia, the gold lead is starting to get unmanageable here. It's up to almost 6,000 at the 20-minute mark. The kills do not tell the full story. This has been a pretty dang complete game from Kabum. And with it stagnating right now, this is that critical point, right? Can your setup, your pressure in the early game translate to kills, translate to more objectives when Furia's comp starts to come online a little bit more?
Right, and critically, with Dragon spawning in less than a minute, Soul Dragon, let's look at the items on Furia. Nobody's there. No one has the spikes. No full stacked Rod of Ages. No 2-3 items on Sivir, and that means Kabum wants to fight. Goot's down.
Goot is down. He gets chewed through by a Varus. FNB finally joining the fight. And finally, Yuri joining the fight. He was up there on the top side. They're putting the chase onto FNB. Envy's got the Gnarl, but Lonely has one too. Guess what? And now Envy goes in just too little, too late. He does get Skuro, but at what cost, my friend? And Trigo and Redbird nowhere to be found. A sloppy engage gets completely run over by Kabum. They've got Soul.
Furia just gets picked apart. I hardly saw how that one starts. Furia just walking into the river without their entire team and getting taken down. That's some of the miscues that maybe we could consider uncharacteristic of this team, but seemingly so characteristic in Split 1. Redbird lingering around the Baron. Goot is up, but this is dropping fast.
Yeah, Goot is doing his darndest to try to get over and steal. And Yuri just bunks him right out. That's all he's done this game in these team fights is come up in Goot's grill, kicked him in the mouth and got him away. Let's get a better look at this fight.
Yeah, I sort of like the idea of getting onto Lonely, trying to blow a summoner, and they do get the flash, but Goot is just not tanky at this point in the game, and Trigo and Redbird completely isolated on the other side of the fight. FNB not looking like he's on the same page with the rest of the team, and at this point, it really is just gold more than anything. The fight looked like it could have been okay for Furia, but they're so far behind in items, as previously stated, didn't have the spikes. Now FNB's getting picked on a side, and the rest of the team's not going to be able to support.
Yuri picking up his first kill. like you said, FNB gets picked off on the side lane, but finally gets an objective bounty for his team. And like you said, the initial the start of the fight for Furia, you don't hate it, but how Duds was able to do that much damage to a Sejuani, I think Skuro deserves a lot of credit as well because look, that's part of why you pick the Heimerdinger. That damage is so high. 100% kill participation, not for nothing
Yeah.
from Skuro. He and Does the Boy, like you said, they blew the summoner from Lonely. They got a pick there, but Duds and Skuro were just free firing and they chewed right through Goot, who was a little too far forward. Like you said, Trigo and Redbird completely isolated from the fight. They couldn't find their engage. The initial engage was just a little miscoordinated, but Kabum played it slow, played it patient, played it very, very well.
And with Furia, not only that, they go in, give him more kills, give up the Baron. The only win condition they really have at this point is time. Try to get 3 items on Sivir. Try to get more items on the Gwen and onto Silas. But when you give up additional advantages after the initial blunder, that's what makes the game unwinnable. And that's what's going to make it so hard to stall out for these items. Kabum, they're just marching into the base, taking the inhibitor, and Furia, they're not there. They are not able to fight.
This is extremely impressive from Kabum. If you are a Kabum fan in the chat right now, this is exactly what we wanted to see. Last stand going out there. Lonely with a huge gnarled. In the backline is Yuri being a nuisance. And guess what? Skuro does the board free firing damage.
Trigo.
But the damage now, Trigo, he doesn't need 3 items. He just needs 2.5. Just mows down all of Kabum. They pull the trigger. Furia get the fight they wanted finally. Envy on the flank. Does the boy goes bye-bye. Furia not out of it just yet, ladies and gents.
Furia cleans up 3. Item spikes be damned. You know what? Because a good engage can do it. Kabum gets caught napping, and Sivir's here, baby.
5,000 damage for those of you keeping score at home. And FNB contributing with 3,000 of his own. Finally getting to a point where these 5v5s are starting to go in the direction of Furia. And that's not even a crazy statement because this was more straight up. This is not the chaotic fights that they've gotten beforehand. Lonely got a great ult to start it off.
The biggest thing is that no one on Furia got one shot to start the fight or chunked low. It all came off of a lonely engage straight up in the 5-on-5. But as you said, 4x4, it favors Furia when all their members are able to stand tall and fire. FNB and Trigo lay in the damage, then the deep TP from Envy cleans up one more. Unlucky not being able to take down Skuro at the end of it, but that's what Furia needs. Now, Kabum, they're still in a commanding position. They have the mid inhibitor down. They've got more pressure on the map, and they still got the ability to remove that one member from the fight. But Kabum, the big thing now that I'm looking for is, are they going to be able to identify that as the symptom of their plight in that fight, or are they going to start slamming their heads into the wall unsuccessfully? That's what we've seen so far from this team. Will they turn over a new leaf now?
And it gets so hard, right? Because you and I have cast a lot of League of Legends in our lives, and when a composition like Kabum's comes up against their first we're getting outscaled moment. Rarely have I seen it overcome other than just a colossal throw from Furia. This, I feel like I've seen this movie before. And if you're a Kabum fan, you do not want it to go the same way. You do not want just a rinse and repeat sequel. You want fresh, new ideas hitting the box office. And Yuri and Scary, they're certainly doing their best to provide it. And look, Skuro and Does the Boy, they still do just disrespectful amounts of damage. But you saw what Trigo and FNB were able to do in a straight up 5v5. It was just them. That was a lot.
And speaking of Trigo, this Sivir is dangerously close to 3 items right before the Elder Dragon spawn. Trigo was the player that we highlighted in draft. If they can survive, they can thrive. Well, surviving, mixed results. But now in the late game, they are starting to thrive. So Trigo might just be the carry that was promised for Furia. But hey, 4x4, I've got a question for you. Do you think that Yuri could have the little something special? Maybe get a little insec action, make the big play that saves the game?
I think he can, but he might not get the opportunity to. That's the thing. Envy's ult is down. Again, he yoinked it from Skuro. It's a 4v5. Yeah, Yuri, he's got to be in the fight
TP to the bot wave behind them. Yuri could TP to the bot wave behind them. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm looking at Yuri to look for a flank. No, but he just TPs into the team. I feel like Kabum needs to find a flank, but maybe they recognize that they just need to throw and poke from the line of scrimmage. Sejuani goes out.
Johnny goes out. Scary goes down lonely into the back line, trying to get what he can. His ult is up, but his Narbar's not built up. It might not matter, though, because they have split Furia completely. And there's the ult that he wanted. Redbird down. FNB is next on the menu. Does the boy buys the time with a very good stopwatch purchase. And Yuri didn't even need to be that special, but he had enough. Ace and the win for Kabum. The fight exploded out of nowhere.
Kabum survives with an ace at the Elder. Straight up 5v5. Be damned, will just outplay you. Kabum's gonna take the win in game 3.
Man, I want to see a replay of that fight because everything was set up for Furia to come away with another team fight victory. And the angles weren't even like crazy